I wasn't racing, I wasn't doing anything, I was just driving. I saw a bunch of smoke coming out, and next thing you know,
as a previous 340i owner, it pains my heart to see these tragedies in the community. First, No Clutch Garage's tragedy with his 340i engine going out on him. Then he spends so much time and energy rebuilding the engine so that it would never happen again, just for the whole car to catch on fire and be unsalvageable. Now Thic Whips, who was so excited to get started on his F30 Gen 1 B58 build, just for it to get rod knocked on the first ever dyno. What is going on? Is there a curse in this community or something? I certainly hope not, and I would not want this to happen to my F80 M3. But from all this, I think that there is so much that we can learn about modding and tuning our BMWs. Whether you have the B58 or the S55, it doesn't matter. In this video, I want to have a conversation around the expectation and realities of owning a BMW and modifying it. Let's dive into the video. If you don't know who Thic Whips is, formerly Thic F30, I highly recommend that you go and check out his content. He's what inspired me to start my channel here with my 340i just a few years ago. He's an absolute OG in the BMW niche. He started with an F30 340i and went through a bunch of dope Beamers, including a Toyota, to ultimately end up at his roots again with an F30 340i with the Gen 1 B58. Out of all the cars that he owned, I was not expecting that the B58 Gen 1 F30 would be the one that blew on him. Many of us know the Gen 1 B58 to be a very, very reliable engine. However, this segues into my first point. Engine failure can happen to any car, any engine, any person for any reason. And to address our situation specifically, the B58 engine is not indestructible. No matter how much we covet the almighty B58 engine, it will always have its faults. Thic Whips experience rod knock, which we know is a potential shortcoming of the B58 engine. It doesn't even matter if you do all the modding and the tuning perfect. This is Thic Whips' second B58 build, and on top of that, he is working with CES Motorsport, which from his videos clearly are experts on the B58 and how to mod it and tune it to its highest potential. They build some crazy cars. In the background of his videos, they're not just working on his car, but they're just working on so many B58s. The shop's just literally filled with them. With this, I assume everything was done correctly and in order. But when you're talking about modifying and tuning cars, that doesn't even matter. We saw No Clutch Garage's 340 blow up due to improper fueling, which can be explained, right? But the second issue that he had after he had done everything right and retried, the car catches on fire, and that I really don't think can be explained. Now in Thic's case, I do think that there will be a reason why it happened, but my point here is you may not always know what that reason is, no matter how hard you try. Secondly, it is not a question of what will go wrong, it's a question of when it will go wrong. Thic Whips even said it himself. He knew there would be a certain point where he'd be having this conversation.
You know, I kind of knew, like, in the back of my head that someday I would probably end up making a video like this. Right? I mean, this is the game I'm in, dude. And
whether it is a catastrophic engine failure or a blown coil pack, something will go wrong. Trust me. There are obviously people who have modded their cars and haven't experienced any issues, but if you keep it up long enough, I guarantee you, there'll be something that happens. Thirdly, be prepared for it when it finally does happen. I wish to never be a person who has to go through this, and truly I'm blessed to not have to. After two BMWs, my 340 and my F80 M3. Imagine the scenario where you mod your car, it blows up, and you don't have the money to fix it. that is a nightmare scenario. Or even worse, it's a finance warranted car that when you try to take it into the shop, the dealer just completely denies the claim because you tampered with it. For this reason, I say it's always best to have a backup plan in case there's something that goes wrong. When I was modding my 340i, I had extra cash available in case anything went wrong with the build. And if you don't have any extra cash, well, you better know how to work on your car really good. Now at this point in the video, you're probably saying, geesh, I probably shouldn't mod my car if this is what could possibly happen. Yes, it is risky, but as enthusiasts, we all know the truth. This is the game we play with each and every build and part that we install on our cars. We roll the dice every single time. However, there is a dichotomy here. I truly believe one of the greatest joys of being an enthusiast is modding our cars and making them faster. So we risk it for the biscuit. If you ask many enthusiasts, including myself, whenever we finish a build that may have went sideways or not gone the way we wanted it to, we will always say 9 times out of 10, it was worth it, because of the final product that we observed when we were finally done with the car. Now obviously different people have different tolerances when it comes to modding our cars. Obviously if you have a family and kids, you should think twice about how much time and effort and money you're willing to put into your build. But in the specific case of Thic Whips, I think this is different. I think there's actually an opportunity to have some serious fun. The famous author F. Scott Fitzgerald says, "Never confuse a single defeat with a final defeat." Clearly, this is not the end for Thic Whips. He had an engine failure, but he will move on and he will better himself.
I guess we're just gonna build a monster, dude. Like, we don't really have a choice. You know what I mean? Like,
this is only the beginning of the 340i build for him. Because of this one stumbling block for Thic, I believe we are probably going to see one of the sickest 340i B58 builds since one stock F30. In fact, during the recording of this video, he was actually able to find a new engine for his 340. All of us personally, we can learn that if we screw up our builds, there is hope. I think when things go bad, it gives us an opportunity to learn things that we may have never had the chance to learn before, and it also gives us the opportunity to build something truly unique. Ultimately, there is no guarantee that our builds will blow up and ultimately financially ruin us. I feel like I'm on the brink of that each and every day at this point. But we all know that's the game you play when you do this type of stuff. And I think honestly, a lot of us love it. If you're interested in seeing my history with my 340i, go take a look at some of these videos that I have here. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.